Where's your...
Yeah.
Where's your start?
Okay.
Take a break after.
Ugh, I kind of wish we took the break now. Okay. So I just handed out a bunch of little things that we're gonna use throughout the sermon. It's, even though it looks like a love note, it's not a love note. You're not gonna be giving it to anyone. You're gonna be using it for your own spiritual journey. Though if you wanted to give it to someone for accountability or whatever, that's up to you. Anyways, we're gonna be looking into what is a heart, and that is the reason why there's a gigantic heart on the paper. But yeah, I think Samuel talked about it a little already, but we'll go a little bit more into it, right? So we're gonna look at three characters. First, Samuel. We saw him when he was first called by God, first hearing his voice, and then he became the wonderful judge that we know, and went into his ministry. And at this point in time, he became old. He did his time, and he needed to give his ministry to someone else. And the Israelites were like, we need a king. So they got Saul, right? And Saul, he was a good king, but there was something wrong with him, as he said, his heart, right? And that's where this story comes in. We get David. And we're going to learn a little bit more about him and why God chose him to be the new and future king. So at this point in the story, we heard Samuel and Eli's story. And then this part is a little in between of Saul's bigger story. It's our first peek at David, but also it's the reason why the author is telling us that Saul loses God's spirit. And yeah, so to begin the story, we have Samuel. He's down in the dumps. He just heard that from God that Saul is not going to be king anymore. He's completely gone. And he's just sad and grieving. And he's just so depressed. He's heartbroken, you know? You get it, heart? Yeah. But, yeah. But Saul was rejected by God. And this is not just rejected. He literally, God hated his decision to make Saul the king. And we all know, like, Saul was only made king because all the Israelites were like, we want someone. And he was forced to be king because he was the strongest and the tallest and etc. But he did a pretty good job, I think, in retrospect. He took down thousands of people for God. But still, it's not enough. And that goes back to the heart. So Samuel is called by God to go and anoint someone else. So he went to Jesse, the Bethlehemite, for there was a son there that God provided for himself, a king. So a little bit about Jesse's family. We only really see the first 3 sons, but he does have 7 sons and 2 daughters. So yeah, let's go into our meeting of the first son, right? Eliab. when Samuel sees him, he's like, oh my goodness, this is the person. This must be it. He is the one, right? But God's like, no, he's not the one. Like, instead, you're looking at appearances. You're looking at height of stature, right? Weirdly enough, height of stature is also a way that Saul was described when we first see Saul. And he's basically saying, I don't want another Saul. No, that's not what I need. No, I need someone with a good heart. Oh, yeah, because he rejected him. Again, he hated his decision, right? But yeah, he needed someone with a good heart. Because God looks on the heart. So what is a heart? Not like the anatomical heart that we're talking about here. We're talking about more like the metaphorical heart. So in the Hebrew, the vav, it means more like the inner person or mind, will, our soul, our heart. Is the whole part of our inner being. So God looks at everything on the inside. So I have the little sheets, right? I want you guys to think about what is in your heart, what is in your desires, what you love, what is in your mind all the time, what are you thinking, etc. So you can write that down as I explain mine, I guess. Like, for example, me, I'm a Blackpink. I love Blackpink, as you can see. I love food. Pizza, popcorn, my favorite food. Also, my favorite drink. If you see my phone case, it's right there. Also, my sister's dog, Marley. The cutest dog ever. I love music. Always something going on in my head. I love conversations with people. But I also have pride in my head. I have indifference. I have nerves, anxiety, depression. I have worries about money, about relationships, about my health, but also, most importantly of all, I have God in my heart. Right? All these things make up a little bit of who I am. And yeah, I want to give maybe a few seconds, maybe 20 seconds, just to write down what is in your heart. The story, but you guys can keep writing if you need to. So yeah, Eliab, he was rejected by God. No more, right? And then we have Abinadab as the second son. But God was like, I've not chosen this one. Next one, Shema, also no. I've not chosen this one. He's not the chosen one. The next 7, goodbye, no, also not. Then Samuel's like, is there anyone else? Anyone at all? But he basically said, Jesse basically said to him, yeah, there's the youngest one. It's interesting, the Hebrew for this means the smallest, not just the youngest. It means basically I don't know, he's just so insignificant that we don't even think about him. He's just off in the field, tending to sheep. Yeah. But Samuel said to Jesse, basically, no, he's important. We are stopping everything, and we're not doing anything until he's here. And when he got here, we see he's ruddy, he's beautiful, he's handsome. If anyone doesn't know what ruddy is, I had to search this up. But it means like healthy with like a reddish glow. Also used for Esau when he was a baby. But yeah, he was like a manly man. But he was also beautiful eyes. So he was soft and nice. He was handsome. So in every way, he was good looking. He was great. He was what you would want as a king, right? And yeah. In every way, you're probably wondering, oh my, this is like God, what God wanted? Didn't he say we only look at the heart? Why is he so good looking then? Right? Well, I think it's important to note that even though God looks at the heart, man looks at appearance. And yes, we may have a good heart, but also that has to leak out into our appearance. And yeah, lots of things do. Like on the top of the page, I want you guys to put some things that are within your heart that would leak out into your outer appearance. And yeah, for example, for me, I'd be an Asian woman. I'd be a Blackpink fan. As you can see, all my belongings. I'm a foodie with my pile of snacks. I'm a musician. I play tons of things. I'm friendly, though a little crazy. Maybe sometimes a little two-faced. Single, friendless, sick, and also poor sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, all of these come out in your appearance from what is in your heart. In other words, our inner being extends to our outer being. So yeah, continuing on in the story. Basically, God says right away to David, this is who I want. This is the chosen one. And he right away, Samuel goes and anoints him. But yeah, the thing about this is this isn't the first, like the only time that David gets anointed. He gets anointed 3 times. This as the first time, second time as the people of Judah, and then the third time of all of Israel. So it's interesting to think that he's not just recognized as king by God, he's recognized by the people. And I think that comes from the accomplishments that he's done. And that comes from God. In Acts 13:22, it says, I found David, son of Jesse, a man after my own heart. He will do everything I want him to. Just as David had God's Spirit in him and worked in him, we have the Holy Spirit working in us because of what Jesus has done, right? Jesus takes away all of our bad sins and all of the bad parts in our heart, so that all of the terrible things that we think are bad are no more. And that outer appearance is God. So instead of all the bad things, and this is probably more like a reflection after kind of thing, but what is some things that you need to get rid of? And what is some things that you know that God is filling in your heart or want to fill in your heart? Like for me, filled with love and grace and hope, passionate about God, loving, caring, listens to people, part of a big community to helping God build God's kingdom and seeing people's hearts. So yeah, our outer being is an extension of who God is. And that means that we need to let God fill our hearts and our being so that it can be filled to become the outer part. So I want to ask a last question. How does God transform you from the inside and out? And I want you to think and reflect even more what can be done. Oh. All right.
Thank you, Crystal. That's was very good to get us involved, the interactive with the heart, and certainly based on the scripture there. As we study that, we see the contrast of Saul being after his own heart, and then David being the person after God's own heart. So a very good interaction. The PowerPoint helped us to walk through. You shared a lot of your story, or revealed a bit of that, in a sense, helped us to, gives us time to identify and how we want to write that up. Very good storytelling and walking through the passage, so that was very clear. At the beginning, you had a bit more ums and ahs, but you did better at the end, so I thought that was good. And the walking around was helpful and keep us engaged. When we were talking about it, and I looked at she wrote out material quite extensively, and I think you did a good job of cutting that down, of editing it down, because there was, I think it would probably be 20-25 minutes, but I think you just wrote it all out first.
Yeah, I just wrote it all.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll cut it down later.
Yeah, that was good. Otherwise, yeah, it was very good for a general audience, and as you mentioned, you wanted to direct it to the class as well. So thank you for that. Great. Okay, let's come back at 1. We have 3 more sermons to finish.